It's the Althorp image, of course, though, which has particularly disgusted royal watchers. That is because we know that Prince William's strongly held and deeply passionate view is that this site must remain sacred.
This is going to be gripping stuff. And Harry, you know, is in the unfortunate position that he's not the claimant.
This is some of the most despicable emotional blackmail surrounding the 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death I have ever seen.
Harry's running out of road. He is running out of road as this global influence.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle than they are with Prince William to use the 30th anniversary of the late Princess of Wales' death to force Prince William into a reunion that he doesn't want with Prince Harry.
The charity Harry built in Diana's name is suing him. Her grave was turned into an Instagram moment. Her anniversary is being hijacked for a red carpet.
It's ghoulish. That's the only word that can explain Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
And through all of it, William hasn't said a single word. He hasn't had to, because while Harry loses everything tied to Diana's name, William inherits it all simply by being the son who understood what it was never supposed to be about.
Prince William and Harry could be brought together for the first time in years at a significant royal event being planned to mark the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana next year, the Mail on Sunday understands. So that is briefing coming from people connected to the Diana Awards.
To Cabal, it means forget-me-not. Harry chose that name on purpose, a tribute to his mother, built for children living with HIV in Lesotho and Botswana. He co-founded it in 2006 with Prince Siza.
Sentebale, the African youth charity he helped establish nearly 2 decades ago, following an increasingly bitter leadership battle that ultimately ended with Harry walking away from the organization in 2025. Harry quit his role as patron of Sentebale. He and the co-founder, Prince Siso, stated that they resigned with heavy hearts, were in shock.
For nearly 2 decades, it was the one thing nobody could question about Harry. Music, the one project that felt real, the one thing that actually carried Diana's spirit without needing a Netflix camera to prove it. That charity is now suing him for defamation in the High Court.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have found their match in Dr. Sophie Chandauka. On Friday, the 10th of April this year, Sentebale announced on their official website that it has commenced legal proceedings in the High Court of England and Wales, seeking the court's intervention, protection, and restitution.
The claim was filed in March 2026. It names 2 defendants, Music, the Duke of Sussex and his longtime mentor, Mark Dyer, a former to King Charles.
So we don't actually know the detail of what it is the charity is claiming Harry and another guy called Mark Dyer, who's his pal and sidekick and mentor, former army officer and equerry to King Charles at one time.
The charity's board said it was seeking the court's protection following what they called a coordinated adverse media campaign, one that caused operational disruption, reputational harm, and an onslaught of cyberbullying aimed at the charity and its leadership.
A coordinated adverse media campaign conducted since the 25th of March 2025 that has caused operational disruption and reputational harm to the charity, its leadership, and its strategic partners. The defendants, Prince Harry and Mark Dyer, a former trustee.
And that leadership is Dr. Sophie Chandauka, chair of the board, a lawyer by training, a former executive at JP Morgan and Meta, an MBE, a woman who grew up with nothing and built a career that most people would spend a lifetime trying to reach. She had already beaten Harry once by reporting the charity to the Charity Commission before this lawsuit even existed.
This lady, you know, is very well qualified. She's a lawyer. She has had very important positions with banks and with financial institutions before she came to join the charity. Well, I personally am very impressed by what I've seen. And I agree with you. I mean, her background is very impressive. She's come from nothing, achieved a wonderful education in Canada and then in Britain. She's been honored in Britain. She's received what's called the MBE, which is a member of the British Empire, it stands for, and it's one of the many we have the honours system in Britain.
And in her Sky News interview, she described a culture of silence inside the organization. Board members too afraid to speak up against the Duke of Sussex. She used the word belligerence to describe him in meetings. Think about that. A board of professionals sitting around a table, afraid to challenge a prince.
So she reported the charity for bullying and harassment and something called misogynoir, which I had to look at what it was. But it's when a black woman claims that she's been picked on and bullied because she's a black woman, not just because she's a woman. But she also claimed misogyny, which we're all familiar with, which is when you just pick on a woman as such.
Now, here is what makes this case different from everything Harry has ever faced. In every courtroom he has walked into before, he was the one bringing the fight. The Mirror, the Sun, the Daily Mail, the Home Office. He picked the timing. He picked the battlefield. And when things turned against him, he could walk away. Not this time. He is the defendant. He has no choice but to defend himself.
Harry, is in the unfortunate position that he's not the claimant, he's the defendant. So he's got no choice but to defend it. He chose to bring all his other battles. Some went well for him. Others, including spectacularly the latest, were disasters. But she can call the tune now and decide when to pull the plug.
And in England, music, the rules are brutal. Unlike America, where the First Amendment protects speech and the person suing has to prove you lied, English defamation law runs in the opposite direction. Whatever Harry said about Sophie Chandulka is presumed untrue from day one. He carries the burden of proving his own words true. The law sides against him before a single witness takes the stand.
In England, unlike in America, in England the burden is on the defendants, it's on Harry. So it's assumed to be untrue when she sues him, assumed to be untrue unless he can prove it's true. And he has to prove it on what's called the balance of probabilities. He has to show that it's more likely than not that she is whatever he called her.
But the allegations are where this gets explosive. According to Chandulka's on their statements, Harry brought a Netflix camera crew to a charity polo fundraiser in Miami. Nobody was told in advance. The venue pulled out because it became a commercial event, and the costs went through the roof. They scrambled to find a replacement.
Prince Harry called the team and said, "I'm doing a Netflix show, and I would love to bring a camera crew." Nobody signed up to being on a Netflix show. On the actual day, the Duchess decided to attend, and she brought a friend, a very famous friend.
And then Meghan showed up unannounced with Serena Williams. No music, warning, no coordination. The whole event was thrown into chaos. And then came the moment everyone remembers. The trophy presentation footage went viral, showing Meghan apparently telling Chandulka to move away from Harry during the photo. Just step aside. Music, that image circulated around the world.
We simply know that Sophie Chandulka claims that they've organized a tremendous media campaign against her and against the charity. So there'll be pleadings. Then after that, there will almost certainly be hearings at which, by the way, it's judge only. There's no jury in England. So there will be hearings at which the judge has to determine preliminary points of law.
After the music press tore that moment apart, Harry's team asked Chandulka to issue a public statement defending Meghan. Her answer was blunt. "We are not setting a precedent by which we become an extension of the Sussex PR machine." She also said the number one risk to the organization was the toxicity of its lead patron's brand, not funding, not politics, the patron himself.
She claims that the Duke's team asked her to defend his wife Meghan from negative publicity. And she says that she said, "No, we're not setting a precedent by which we become an extension of the Sussex PR machine." So that's pretty hot, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And she says that the number one risk for this organization, meaning Sentebale, was the toxicity of its lead patron's brand.
A children's HIV charity built in a dead princess's name. And the woman running it said the biggest threat to those children was the man who founded it. And there is one more detail that has not received nearly enough attention. Tom Bower reported in his book Betrayal that Harry allegedly asked some Sentebale donors to redirect their funds to Archewell instead. Music, his own foundation. If that is true, he was not just damaging the charity's reputation, he was draining its income and music, sending it to himself.
If you read Tom Bower's Betrayal, he does have a source close to Sentebale that says that Harry's brand and that Harry's just toxic activity over the last 6 years negatively affected their ability to fundraise in general. That be presented at trial, or does it need to be Sophie Chandaka was bullied online to the point of having to shut down her accounts and she saw a doctor? I mean, could it be just analytical proof that people stopped contributing to Prince Harry because of his behavior at a certain point?
One senior barrister reviewed the case on camera and said 6 words that should worry Harry more than any legal filing. I think he may have met his match. If the lawsuit is a problem, what comes next is a nightmare. In English civil cases, there is a process called disclosure. Americans call it discovery. A senior criminal defense barrister, Music, described it in one word: nuclear. Both sides are required to hand over every relevant document, every Music email, everything on their computers, every message sent to every person they contacted about the subject of the case. And certainly journalists. That was his word. Certainly journalists.
Disclosure in an English civil case is now sort of the nuclear weapon, and both sides use it to the full. And they demand an absolute raft, an absolute catalogue, all your emails, all what's on your computers, what you've written to every possible person that you might have contacted about the subject matter of the case, and certainly journalists.
The only thing protected is communication between you and your lawyer. That is the entire Music list. So think about what that means for Harry. Every WhatsApp between him and Mark Dyer about the charity, every text between him and Meghan discussing Sophie Chandaka, not just since the lawsuit, going back years from the very beginning of the tension.
The only privilege you have is not to reveal what passed between you and your lawyers. That's called legal professional privilege, which is absolute and sacrosanct. But for the rest of it, absolutely anything he's written to the world or has to be disclosed. And if the other side think you're hiding stuff, then they go to the court for an order specifying what you've got to disclose. It's a very time-consuming and thorough process, and it's a tremendous weapon because it reveals all sorts of stuff.
If Harry texted Meghan venting about Chandaka, mocking her, strategizing against her, those messages are disclosable. Every single one, in a public court bundle. The barrister put it perfectly. The birds may be coming home to roost because Harry used this exact weapon against every newspaper he ever sued. He demanded their emails, their internal communications, their private documents, and he won headlines doing it. Now, the same process is pointed directly at him.
If she can gain access to the WhatsApps and emails and texts between Harry and this guy, Mark Dyer, let's just imagine that, or between Harry and not his legal advisors, Meghan. He'd be entitled to it, the communications between Harry and Meghan dealing with this issue, with Sentebale, and not just sort of since the case arose, but going back from the very beginning. If Harry is texting Meghan saying what a this Chandaka is, do you know what she's done yesterday, darling? Those messages are all to be revealed.
Here's where it gets even worse. The same barrister raised on camera, without being asked, the possibility that Harry could simply delete everything. Music, he then confirmed, also on camera, that doing so would be illegal. Nobody is saying Harry has done that. But when a King's Counsel volunteers that scenario about a member of the royal family, and it does not make a single front page, you know how seriously the legal world is taking what might be hiding in those messages.
He may simply delete the lot and say that's his normal policy, very, very sorry. Or he may just disclose a few innocuous ones. Good morning, Meghan. What time are you taking the kids to school? All that can happen, so wait and see.
Is that illegal?
Yes, basically, but it happens.
Now, the question nobody can answer. Chandala has confirmed publicly that the legal costs are not being paid by the charity. No donations are being used, but she has not said who is paying. Somebody with very deep pockets has decided to fund a multi-year high court case, music, against the Duke of Sussex, and they are staying anonymous. This has
not been noticed, but she has said on record that the costs of this case are not being borne by the charity.
Oh.
She has not said who is bearing the costs.
Do we think it's King Charles?
No.
I'm just kidding.
You're kidding, but I'll tell you, and I'm not kidding, making a wild guess, because of course nobody's telling me, and she certainly hasn't said who it is if it's not the charity.
One theory raised by the barrister himself is that a newspaper group is behind it. A group that spent years on the receiving end of Harry's lawsuits. A group that might now see an opportunity to return the favor through a proxy. He called it a guess. But if it is true, then every legal battle Harry waged against Fleet Street produced the one outcome he never planned for. Not a chastened press, a press with a grudge, a budget, and now a way in.
Now I'm going to make a wild guess that maybe one of these newspaper groups who want their revenge against Harry.
Wow.
For the circus that he's been playing all these years, maybe they're backing Sentebale.
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious, and in which case, expect the sparks to fly for the next many, many months and years.
The trial is not expected before late 2027. That is 18 months of published pleadings, preliminary hearings, disclosure, enormous headlines, all landing in the same window.
I would expect some preliminary hearings to decide these preliminary technical questions of law in the next few months, let me put it that way. And I would expect, what are we now? We're summer of 26. I don't think you'd get a trial before late 27.
While the legal storm was building, something happened in July that brought the Diana question into an entirely different arena. During a UK visit, the Sussexes stayed at Althorp, the Spencer family estate, and Meghan posted a photo on Instagram showing Harry and Archie carrying bouquets of flowers while Leet walked beside them down a tree-lined path. People magazine, briefed directly by the Sussex team.
Within hours, predictably, confirmation from their propagandists at People magazine, who tried to paint this as some type of beautiful moment, but within it confirmed that it was indeed Althorp. The photo, and just to clarify, in case you don't realise, Harry and Meghan briefed directly to People magazine, so this has come from their team. And People reports one image shows Harry, Archie, and Lily from behind as they walk down a grassy path lined with trees and hedges. The photo is believed to have been taken at Althorp, the Spencer family's ancestral estate where Diana grew up.
K's the path. The destination was obvious. They were walking toward Princess Diana's grave. The backlash was immediate and global. The word that kept appearing from commentators and thousands of people online was music ghoulish. Charles Spencer, Diana's own brother, once wrote that the grave's remote island location was intentional, designed as a buffer against what he called the insane and ghoulish.
I would now use Charles Spencer's words directly to describe the acts of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You too are insane and ghoulish. You too have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place. And also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've been taken by paparazzi. Like, no, we don't want to see Meghan's ass cheeks, okay, while she's watching her children in the water. Please.
And now his nephew's wife had posted a photo walking toward it on Instagram. Reports said William was devastated. King Charles was reportedly genuinely shocked. Even people who normally defend the Sussexes were uncomfortable this time. Meghan also posted the photo the day after the Wales family released Prince George's birthday portrait. She dropped pictures of Archie sitting in a cockpit, walking on the beach, as if designed to redirect attention from the future king's milestone.
Prince and Princess of Wales drop a grown-up picture of Prince George to celebrate his 13th birthday milestone, and now all of a sudden Archie has grown 4 inches. And specifically, Sentebale adding Prince George was seen sitting in a plane. So, of course, Meghan just had to make sure Archie was seen doing the same. She is a crazy stalker. Again, Paula, it could be a coincidence, but it's a pretty odd coincidence, I guess I would say.
And then there was the swimsuit, the same cut Diana was famous for wearing, and the Paris car video. Meghan filmed herself riding through Paris with her feet up in the back seat near the same streets where Diana died. She posted it on Instagram while promoting her wine brand. The backlash was ferocious. These are not one-off coincidences. This is a pattern.
Meghan Markle is wearing the same cut swimsuit Princess Diana was famous for. The Royal Grift describing it as absolutely mental, and Meghan's moles saying that it's psycho stalker behaviour. Again, Paul, if this were a one-off, you'd probably give the person benefit of the doubt, right? But given this is now like such a trend, I do believe it's purposeful. Do you?
Of course. Of course it is. We could go through the last, 8-10 years of all the outfits she's copied of Diana's. And, it's actually quite, what's the word? Oedipal and weird.
But the graveside photo is the one that sticks because, according to reports, music. It was not even the first time a similar idea was floated. Sources claim Meghan proposed a joint visit to Diana's grave. William, Catherine, and their 3 children alongside Harry, Meghan, and theirs. 7 of Diana's descendants arranged at the burial site together, photographed.
But I do think the timing is just odd. It was dropped on a Thursday. Prince George's birthday was on Wednesday. On Thursday, people were still talking about the photos and still talking about Prince George's future when Meghan decides that's the appropriate day to drop photos of her children. So it is a little odd. It's a little just thirsty, back to me. I need the attention. Come on. It's just, I feel kind of sad for them.
William's reported response was one word: grotesque. He visits that grave in silence. No cameras, no announcement, no music statement. He takes his wife, he takes his children, and nobody ever hears about it. Music, that is what a private act of grief looks like. There is one royal patronage left on this earth that both brothers share. One, the Diana Award, a charity carrying their mother's name. And now a 30th anniversary gala is being planned for 2027. A black tie event, a full program of events, and the timing says everything.
Sorry, here's the report. Prince William and Harry could be brought together for the first time in years at a significant royal event being planned to mark the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana next year, the Mail on Sunday understands. So that is briefing coming from people connected to the Diana Awards. The event, which would pay tribute to the enduring legacy of their late mother 3 decades after her death in a Paris underpass, is being masterminded by, yes, the Diana Award, a charity set up in her honour. Both William and Harry are patrons of the charity, the last remaining patronage the estranged brothers share. And while they have been carrying out appearances separately on the charity's behalf in recent years, it is understood both will be invited.
It is built around Harry's trip to Birmingham for the Invictus Games, not around the schedule of the future king, around Harry's. Both brothers will reportedly be invited. Music. And according to a source quoted in the Mail on Sunday, Meghan wants to be there. A source said Harry wants her to be part of it, to be closer to his mother's legacy. William's position is simple and immovable. Nothing official connected to Diana involves Meghan, but the real fear is not one gala. It is what one gala becomes. One photograph of 2 brothers under Diana's name. By the following morning, the narrative writes itself. Harry is back. Harry is relevant. Harry is still royal. Music, and every organization that paid the Sussexes to attack the institution gets its investment revalued overnight.
Sources say the charity plans to mark the milestone anniversary with a programme of events in 2027, the highlight of which is set to be a glittering black tie gala. This is likely to coincide with the Sussexes' trip to Birmingham next summer for the Invictus Games. So already what you'll see is that Diana Awards are wanting to work with Prince Harry rather than Prince William, because they want the event to be held at a time where it is easy for Harry to be there. If both brothers attend, it would be their first public appearance in public since the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. Presumably, the Diana Award are also thinking of publicity. In some ways, can't blame them for that.
William sees that he has been the collateral damage for 6 years. And the comments from every audience covering this story say the same thing. William should cut ties. Let Harry have the red carpet. William does not need a gala to honor his mother. He does it every day in how he lives and how he serves. The Diana Award may be the last door still open between two brothers. And everything about how this anniversary is being organized suggests that door is about to close quietly, deliberately, permanently.
The Diana Award, which celebrates young people who make a difference to the lives of others, is a crucial organisation for the princes, as it has played a key role in keeping their mother's memory alive. In recent years, William and Harry have taken turns to participate in events, and a source at the charity said staff were careful to ensure an equal balance of occasions involving each brother. Both would wish to take part in any significant events honouring their late mother. In 2017, to commemorate 20 years since Diana's death, they made a joint appearance at a high-profile Diana event award at the St James's Palace. But 10 years on, this has become far trickier for the charity to navigate. In March 2024, William attended a Diana Award event to mark 25 years since the charity's inception, while Harry appeared later via video link. Since then, the annual awards have been held virtually, but next year's events will be held in person.
So, step back, look at the full picture. One brother co-founded a charity in his mother's name. That charity is now suing him. One brother's wife posted a photo from his mother's private burial ground on Instagram. One brother's team asked a children's HIV charity to act as a PR shield for his wife. One brother is facing music, 18 months of court hearings, mandatory disclosure of private messages, and a public judgment. Music, and what is funding his defense? A jam brand with terrible reviews, a Netflix deal that has been downgraded, a cooking show canceled after 2 seasons.
I think William, I know it's going to be in person, but I think William should definitely do something that's virtual. I mean, have something planned that day, because that is clearly trying to bring them into the room together. And it's going to be very controversial and get more publicity, of course. But I just think William cannot be forced via these awards to do something that goes against everything that he stands for. I mean, you have to just look at the past and see, what Meghan, especially having her there with William, would be a disaster. Meghan and Harry have their hands all over this. They are colluding. Yeah, and it's just, once again, reason for William to not be a part of it, because they're, trying to do something that is putting William in an uncomfortable position. I mean, why should he have to look like he is the bad guy here, like what you were mentioning earlier?
Invictus Games, with reports of sponsors pulling out and allegations from Tom Bauer's book that funds were spent on private jets and 5-star hotels for Harry and Meghan. Birmingham, the city hosting the next games, only recently came out of bankruptcy. No Invictus, no Harry. That is the equation in 4 words. The other brother has never had a charity sue him. Never faced a regulator's complaint. Never had to explain a graveside visit to a judge. Never had a fan base he needed to ask to stop attacking people. Never given a single interview about his mother's death that he later had to defend in court. Same mother, same surname, same childhood, same grief. Entirely different outcomes. Not try to demonize.
Not try to demonize William as someone who is, not coming to be with Meghan and Harry because of his mother. Like, we have to give William that, because the sinister behavior of Meghan and what she has done to Harry, and now what Harry is doing, you can't be around them. You can't trust them. You can't give them anything, because then they will bring you down as well. And that's what I know William, I'm sure, is probably thinking. He has to have a break, a formal break from them.
100%.
Years ago, a senior royal figure told Meghan something after a charity visit where the charity got wiped off the front pages. The story became about messages she wrote on bananas. 6 words. The focus is the charity. It is never about you. Diana understood that instinctively. It is why her charity work landed. She had the most photographed face on earth, and she pointed it at other people. The handshake at the AIDS ward was not about her. The walk through the minefield was not about her. She made herself the smallest thing in the room, and the cause the biggest. Music. Her younger son put her name on a charity for children with HIV. That charity is now suing him. Her elder son carries the same name, the same face, the same legacy, and he has never once had to explain any of it to a judge. Harry said his family was trapped. His father, his brother trapped, and he had escaped. 6 years later, he is a defendant in a British court, sued in his mother's name. The law presumes him wrong until he proves otherwise. Music. His private messages to his wife are disclosable. The woman he tried to remove from a board now sets the pace, picks the moment, decides whether it settles or goes all the way to a public judgment. And the other son, the one Harry said was trapped. He carries the same surname, the same mother, the same grief, and has never needed to explain any of it because someone told this family the rule a long time ago over a box of fruit, and only one of them wrote it down. It was never about you. One brother lost everything carrying Diana's name. The other never had to carry it. He just lived it. If you want the full breakdown of what Harry faces next, that video is right here on your